Good morning, gorgeous people, and I hope you weren't too distracted. It's all happening at this end. Morning. I hope you weren't too distracted by my little tech issue there. I hope you are all doing okay. As you hop on and join me, say hello, tell me how you're doing today. We have got so much more to dive into today. So this is really going to be your day. If you're struggling with anxiety, overwhelm, feeling like you're a little bit all over the place, like you can't connect the dots with your thoughts, or your thoughts feel so intrusive, so overwhelming, then today is your day. So we will be diving into that in a little bit more detail in a moment. But in the meantime, as you hop on and join me, say hello, tell me how you are, tell me how you're doing today. And if you're joining me on replay, still say hello, because it's really lovely to know who's watching. Just a couple of reminders. If you want to be in for a chance to win a gorgeous prize next week, make sure to like and comment on all the training videos for this week. And then your name will go into a hat for some beautiful prizes. So, oh, wow. Okay, let me try and say this. Oh God, Malgozata. I don't think that's right, but welcome, lovely. Hope you are doing okay. So pleased you're in today. Morning, Amelia. Hope you are doing okay. Morning, Jane. Viewing the deep in Game of Thrones territory. Oh, exciting. I like the sound of that. So who listened to day 2 visualization? I would love to know. Let me know. What were your thoughts? What came through for you? Did you find it relaxing? Did you feel your nervous system slowing down? I would love to know. Oh, wow. I pronounced that okay. Fabulous. Thank you so much. Morning, Beverly. Lovely. Hope you are doing okay. So we've already done a couple of days. We've looked at the first day was really about understanding our mindset and making sure that we're in the right mindset to take care of ourselves. To not let those excuses that we can use to stand in our way of actually putting our needs first. Because as we know, it's not until we've actually taken care of ourselves that we can truly look after the people around us. And actually, if we're at rock bottom, if we've got no energy left, if our body is starting to rebel because we're not looking after it, then that not only affects us, it affects everyone in our world. So that's what day 1 was really about. It was about shifting our mindset to allow us to realize just how important we are, and to forgive ourselves for the times we haven't looked after ourselves, because that weight of guilt and shame and blame will only hold you back from actually doing what you need to do, from moving forward. It will keep you locked in this cycle of feeling bad, comfort eating, feeling bad, doing something else that's unhealthy to make yourself feel better. And then it just becomes like a self-fulfilling prophecy. So we have to break that cycle. Yesterday, we started to look at how the nervous system goes out of balance according to Ayurveda. So we had a look at this concept of pitta, which is where we've got too much fire in the body. And in Ayurveda, we would deal with too much fire in a number of different ways. We would look at the diet we're eating. And I don't just mean from a Western sense. I don't mean just start eating salads, because actually that's one of the worst things you can do. We will have a look at the type of movement we're doing. And again, I'm not talking about pushing yourself to go to the gym or go for runs, because again, with too much pitta, that might not be what you need. And we can look at things like our lifestyle, what we're saying yes to, what we're saying no to, what the boundaries we have in place, how are we taking care of our souls and our minds and our mindset. So today we are looking at a different imbalance that can happen in the system. Jane, you did, and it was super relaxing. I'm so pleased to hear that. Lovely. Beverly, you haven't yet, as you had your class last night. No problem. It will be there for whenever you need it to. So I am not taking these away after a certain amount of time. They will be there to access ongoing. So feel free to come back to these time and time again as a little gift from me. Morning, Deborah, lovely. How are you doing? Hope you're doing okay. So, are we ready to dive in? Are we ready to dive in to day 3? I was going to say day 2, day 3. So, as usual, I've got my slides. So I just wanted to give you a bit of a reminder, really, of the 3 pillars that I believe really make such a huge difference when it comes to re-establishing health and wellness in the body. We have our Ayurvedic wisdom, so our modality, our holistic modality. And like I say, this can be interchange with something else. But what I would say is that needs to be a modality that looks at everything. That's one of the things I absolutely love about Ayurveda is it considers it all, which makes sense, right? So it looks at what we're eating. It looks at how we're living. It looks at the herbs we're taking. It looks at our lifestyle, our sleep, our hormones, our stress, so much. All of these things are taken into consideration when looking at how to rebalance the body. Now, the second pillar is really understanding your own body, because you can have all the modalities in the world, but if you can't figure out how it relates to your body, it's kind of irrelevant. So this is about listening to your body, really understanding what it's telling you, looking at the patterns that are present. And again, this is another reason I really love Ayurveda, because it gives you such an easy framework to work with. So like the doshas that we're talking about today, it makes it really easy to identify when we're out of balance, and so that we can then use the Ayurvedic modality to re-establish balance by looking at the patterns that we need to correct. And then we need the mindset. So this was really what we started to look at on day 1. This is about continually coming back to this place of being kind and compassionate with ourselves, but also holding ourselves to account, being responsible for our health and well-being, not waiting for some knight in shining armor to come save us, not putting all the ownership on the doctors and consultants, when fundamentally our own health and well-being is our responsibility. So, and I've got a bit of a frog in my throat at the moment, so bear with me. And I'm just going to take that banner off so you can see the slides. So I just wanted to give like a full disclosure here. We're looking at a tiny piece of this in reality, because the thing is, what takes our nervous system out of balance is not just our mind. Like I was saying with Ayurveda, we need to consider everything. So eating the wrong foods for our body type. And I'm not talking about unhealthy foods here. I'm talking about the wrong foods for our body type. Past traumas and things that we haven't dealt with on a deeper level, these things will also be affecting our nervous system. Not taking the time to listen to our body is huge. Those times when we know we need to rest, or we know that actually we need to give ourselves a kick up the bum, and we're not doing it. Having the wrong lifestyle for our individual body makeup. Because the truth is, we will all be designed to have different levels of stress, different levels of what we can take on in our world. So for me, I know that if I don't have enough pressure in my life, I can get quite low. I can get quite down. I don't feel like I've got a purpose, and I can feel really unmotivated. Yet if I have too much pressure in my life, I feel like I'm out of control, and the adrenaline won't stop, and it all just becomes really overwhelming. So it's about finding that perfect balance for you. Obviously, medication, drugs, alcohol, stimulants, herbs, all of these things affect our nervous system. I look back to when I first started trying to figure out Ayurveda, and I was taking all the wrong herbs because I'd read the books and thought I knew enough, and then was probably, well, definitely in my case, making things worse. So just because something's herbal or natural, just I would be cautious, because they have an effect on the body, but if you don't really understand how your body is out of balance and what way, energetically which way, then you could be doing more harm than good. And this is the same with medications, drugs, different stimulants, different supplements, different vitamins. All of these things will have an effect on the body, so we've got to use them wisely. The time of year will have a huge effect on your nervous system. And we've all experienced this, right? The January blues, or, in the summer where we feel like we can wake up and we've got more energy. There's a reason for that. There's energy behind that. And like what we're talking about today, the doshas will align with different seasons. So these patterns of energy, they actually show up in the seasons as well as within our body. We also have different energetics that are present at different times of our life. So the energies we'll be talking about over the next 3 days, at different times in our life, we're more likely to have more of them. So when we're younger, we're more likely to have the kapha energy, which we'll be talking about tomorrow. After menopause, we're more likely to have more vata energy, which is what we'll be talking about today. And when we're in that in-between period is when we've got more pitta energy, so that go, go, go energy, because we've got so much we need to get done. So other things that affect our nervous system, thinking, our environment, and we know this, if we're in a situation where we feel unsafe or not cared for or not seen, not heard, then that will be taking its toll as well as our relationships with those closest to us. And poor or overactive Agni. So in Ayurveda, this is our digestive system, our metabolism. It's our ability to take in and transform that thing we're taking in into something that's going to serve us, and then releasing anything that we don't need. And that goes for our mental, emotional health, as well as our physical body. So all of these things can have a huge impact on our nervous system. Is that making sense? Let me know if that's making sense to you all. And we mentioned this yesterday, that one of the big ironies of our body is often we will be drawn to the things that will take us further out of balance once we have an imbalance in the body. It's like the imbalance wants to keep itself going. It wants to get bigger. It wants to get huge. So this is, again, what I was saying about, when your body is out of balance, often we will create this kind of spinning wheel where it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger until it encompasses everything. And then this is where disease and conditions develop in the body. And that's why we need support to address it. I know that when I first started trying to rebalance my health with Ayurveda, I struggled to see my imbalances because they had become so normal. I'd struggled to see where my mindset was off because I'd been in such an unhealthy mindset for such a long time that actually to break that just seemed impossible. And actually, I didn't even see it half the time. It was just the way I was living my life. I told myself that's who I was. It's who I was to put everyone else first and put my needs last. It was who I was to just not really take too much care of myself. I enjoyed working. All my time went on working or taking care of other people's needs. So this is why support, and this isn't about you getting support from me, but if you don't get support through me, get support through someone else, because it is so, so important when it comes to rebalancing our health and wellness. So we started to look at these patterns that show up in the body. and in our nervous system. And yesterday we looked at the fire energy of pitta. So this pitta energy is something we need, and we need all of these energies. However, the problem comes when it takes us further out of balance. And today we will be looking at the dosha of Vata, or the energy pattern of Vata, and how this shows up in the system. This is the elements of air and ether. So again, if we think about the kind of language we use when we're referring to someone, people that might have a lot of Vata in their system might be referred to as an airhead, or she's away with the fairies, or a bit disconnected from the world. Vata has the qualities of being really light, fast moving, a little bit erratic. It's also quite cold in the system. It can have a coldness, a depleting effect in the system. But in its healthiest form, this is the energy that allows us to tap into that creative side of ourselves. It is the energy that allows us to connect in with our intuitive and spiritual side. It allows us to communicate and connect with others on a really deep level. It's quite a feminine form energy in the respect of it allows us to flow and dance through life, as opposed to everything feeling really heavy and stagnant. And if we're thinking big picture, if we're wanting to dream, we want this Vata energy to be there so that we can think big, be visionaries in our life. Now, you may find that as we go through these doshas, some of these you will naturally align to. There'll be some where you think, oh my God, that's me. And there'll be others that you think, yeah, sometimes I go into that, but it's not how I naturally show up, or it's not how the majority of the time I show up. But when our Vata is in excess, and bear in mind that, menopause and after menopause is the time when we're expecting to see more Vata in the body. This is one of the reasons that this can show up so much during menopause. We're likely to feel anxious. We've got a really busy mind that won't stop, and it just feels really overwhelming, almost like the world is spinning too fast and you just want to get off and go hide somewhere. You can find yourself waking up during the Vata hours in the time of day, which is between 2 a.m. and 4 a.m. These are the times when we're generally dreaming. It's the time when Vata is the highest in the morning, and it allows us to dream. But also, if we've got anxiety or things going on in our mind, it's most likely to wake us up at this time in the morning and cause restless sleep. We can feel indecisive, just unable to make decisions, kind of locked into a place of fear, always so scared that we're going to make the wrong decision. So we don't do anything and just sit in this place of overwhelm. Finding it really difficult to concentrate, to think, to remember. Like I say, it's almost like you're struggling to connect the dots sometimes. It feels like everything is just becoming so overwhelming that you can't think in a straight line. I once had a client who came to me and she was convinced she had early onset dementia. And through looking, through working with her, it was nothing to do with dementia. Her hormones were out of balance because of menopause, but it can really show up like this. It can make us feel like we're completely losing it. So it's so important that we can identify this in the body. We can feel really ungrounded, kind of, like I say, disconnected from the world, away with the fairies. I'm trying to think of other ways to explain that, but that feeling of just not quite being here, always in our heads, not in our bodies. That general sense of being disconnected from the earth. and finding it really difficult to sit still, perhaps being fidgety, having things like restless legs, um, and finding it really uncomfortable to be in stillness, to just sit with yourself, or to just have a break for 5 minutes and sit down. And the outcome is it just becomes like this self-fulfilling prophecy when we've got too much Vata in the system. We go into this fear mindset. And when we're in a fear mindset, we tend to limit what's available to us. We operate from a place of scarcity. So we don't say yes to the things we want to say yes to because we've got all of these reasons in our head as to why we shouldn't. Or we don't want to say no to things because we've created all of the reasons in our heads as to why we shouldn't. And we can feel really lacking, really undernourished, really undernurtured. So what's the solution? Well, the thing is with fear, like I say, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. The minute we become anxious of things, we start operating from this place of scarcity. We start making decisions around a place of scarcity. And I don't know about the rest of you, but it's one thing I'm seeing at the moment with, the media is fueling this fear that's going on around price rises. And you cannot turn on the news or open, not that I open them, but, newspapers or any kind of media without seeing something about the rising prices of costs. And yes, there are prices going up. But one of the things we tend to do when we go into fear is we shrink back. We don't take risks. We try and hoard and pretend we're safe like this. But because of that, we often miss the opportunities to do something about the thing we're scared of because we're so scared, we're almost gone into hibernation mode. So it's only when we're operating from that place of abundance, that place of feeling like the universe is serving me. Of course, the universe is serving me, that we actually see that we're able to take those decisions and those steps that will lead us to a place where we want to be, as opposed to being scared and hiding in our little caves. And, in menopause, this can show up in other ways. So that fear, I've seen this fear stop women from working because they're so scared of getting things wrong. I've seen this fear show up in women stopping driving because they're so scared that they can't think straight and perhaps they shouldn't be driving and it's all a bit scary and it's all moving too fast because their mind is out of balance with Vata. So, like I say, the sad thing is it becomes this self-fulfilling prophecy unless we take a moment and see where we are and choose to make a different decision. And I found there's two huge things that really, really help in terms of our mindset when it comes to Vata. One is tapping into that place of gratitude because that moves us out of that place of fear. It stops us feeling like we haven't got enough. It stops us worrying that everything is going to run out because we're in this space of knowing that we've always got available to us so much and we're so lucky to have everything we have. And the other thing is to feel the fear and do it anyway. And we've all heard this concept, right? This idea of, I think there's a book, isn't there? Feel the fear and do it anyway. But the idea being that when we allow ourselves to be afraid and still take the action, then actually what we find is we're gaining evidence to support our abundance mindset, to move us away from this place of fear, to move into a place of knowing that actually we're okay and we have got the resources available to us to do what we need to do and what we want to do. So I thought we would do a practice today on this power of gratitude. And I thought that might be a nice experience to have together. I'm just seeing your comments coming through. Let's have a look rather. Beverly, you're away with the fairies. A lot of them are lovely. Yeah, sometimes a nice place to be lovely. Jane, waking up in the night and difficulty concentrating or remembering resonates with you. un- oh god, I can't even say that word, uncharacteristic anxiety response to certain triggers, but anxiety not ever present. I have difficulty saying no. Yeah. And again, it's that uncharacteristic. If you've always struggled with anxiety, that's something different. Although it is still a Vata overload, it's still Vata in excess. Um, Beverly, you can find your glasses and they were on your head. Sometimes we do this though because we've got too much on. So know the difference is what I would say. Do you know one of the things I will often do is look for my phone while I'm talking on it, and then I remember I'm talking on my phone. That's where it is. Um, so, Beverly, you found you were waiting, and then things are better, but I'll do it then, etc. Then I'm done waiting. That's it. You've got to feel the fear and jump in and get it done. And here's the thing: if we wait till we're not afraid to do anything in this life, then we wouldn't do anything, would we? We would just sit in our own little bubble, not worrying and being scared. So, what I would invite you to do is get yourself comfy. We are going to do a lovely practice together, one of my favourite practices. So, get what you need, do what you need to do while I have a sip of my tea. It's not tea, actually, I've got cacao today. And I would love to know, as you're getting yourself ready, whether you're finding that you relate more to the Pitta or the Vata right now. What feels more aligned to you? And like I say, Vata can also show up in the system. It shows up when in excess, and things like excess air in the system. So things like colicky pains in the belly, feeling bloated, things that come and go. So things that have got no rhyme and reason. So, for example, hot flushes is a Vata symptom because there's no rhyme or reason to them. They come and go. Coldness, dryness. These are all Vata conditions as well. So anything relating to dry skin, dry hair, feeling cold, that feeling where you can't wake up, where you can't warm up, or just feeling the cold a lot more than you used to. And that's, to a certain degree, some of these things are quite natural as we get older. However, if we're seeing some of these other symptoms, then that's definitely Vata overload. Beverly, you feel you have both, and that's perfectly possible, lovely. What we can find is that if we have one dosha out of balance, it can also push us into another. So often when my pitta is out of balance, it will push me into Vata. I will go into feeling anxious and overwhelmed. So I've been running on that adrenaline so long that I then go into anxiety and overwhelm. Or I will burn out, which is taking me into a kaphic type energy. And we'll talk about kapha tomorrow. Jane, definitely more Vata, feeling the cold, yeah. Bone cold. Yeah, I get it. That kind of cold where you have to have a bath to warm up. That's what it reminds me of. So I'm getting a bit nippy as we're talking about the cold. I wonder if that's a like psychosomatic thing. I don't know. But I'm going to put my shawl on. Beverly, you're hot, then later cold. So yeah, this could be a Vata thing. It sounds like it might be hot flushes type symptom, in which case it's still a Vata issue because it's erratic. It's got no rhyme or reason behind it. If there's something that comes and goes with no kind of trigger, or any unexplained pains are also a Vata condition. Um, I'm loving seeing your little comments to each other in the group. It's so nice to see you all connecting. So, as and when you're ready, taking a moment to slowly close your eyes and bring your awareness to that breath in the belly. And just noticing that gentle rise and fall that happens automatically. the universe supporting you with one breath and another and another. And starting to notice if you're holding on to any unnecessary tension in the body, and see if you can just bring some ease to those areas. Allowing the shoulders to just drop away from the ears, softening across the brow, around the eyes, loosening the jaw. Letting go of any tightness in the tummy and the hips. Bringing in a little bit more ease, a little bit more peace, a little bit more relaxation. And just allow yourself to enjoy this for a moment, just this easeful rest in the body. And if at any point you get pulled into thought or find yourself distracted, no, that's okay. You're human, you have thoughts, that's okay. Just gently bring your awareness back to the rise and fall of the belly. And we're not trying to achieve anything here. We're not trying to be or do anything here. We're just resting in this present moment. And I invite you now to bring your hand to your heart space. And just take a moment to notice what's going on in this area of the body, in this area of the chest. Breathing into this space in the body. And allowing any tightness to drop away, finding more ease. And I invite you now to bring to mind all the things you're grateful for. It might be the fact that you have a home. You have people in your life that you care about. Food in the fridge, running water in a world where so many don't. The sun that shines down on us every day. Being able to go out in nature and feel grounded and connected to the wider world. Maybe you feel grateful for your body, for allowing you to still be here, for keeping going, despite perhaps not always giving it the best care and attention. And perhaps it's the little things you're grateful for. your favorite blanket or pillow, that soft jumper or top that you like to wear and go to for comfort. Having a bed where you can rest your head at night time, and a duvet to pull up over you. Whatever it is for you, allow those things to come to you now and start to notice where you feel this feeling of gratitude in your body. Notice the energy this feeling of gratitude generates in the body. And see if you can allow that to get bigger and bigger and bigger till it's just engulfing you in this beautiful feeling of gratitude. This feeling of how lucky am I? How lucky am I? And allow that feeling to fill up every cell in your being, to get stronger, more intense. Until you're almost emotional or overwhelmed by just how much you have, just how much is available to you. Even things like having a device where we can share this practice together. Having the internet so we can all connect in this moment. How amazing is that? How magical. And allow this feeling of love and gratitude to just fill you up to the top of your head, to the tips of your toes, till you find yourself just vibrating at this frequency. This feeling of, I am so blessed. So blessed. And you may want to take a moment to say thank you for that. Thank you. Thank you for everything I have. Thank you. Whether you believe in God or the universe or something bigger than you, sending them thanks. Thank you. Sending that thanks to yourself for showing up for this practice today. Thank you for prioritizing this time. Thanking yourself for being here, for taking part, for allowing yourself this space. And sending love and thanks to the other ladies that are sharing this experience with you. Feel that ripple out into the world, into their hearts. And notice as you feel that coming back to you. It doesn't matter if they're watching now or later on replay. Feeling that love and gratitude jump between you. And allowing this feeling to settle into the body now. knowing it's always here for you to come back to anytime you need it. And starting to notice the feeling of the chair or cushion beneath you. That feeling of contact where you end and the other thing begins. Starting to notice the feeling of the air on your skin, the temperature of the room. As the air gently kisses your face. And start to notice if there's any sounds that are bringing you back to the outside world. Calling you back. And as and when you're ready, slowly opening your eyes, coming back into this outside world. I would love to know how you found that. And if you have been struggling with overwhelm and anxiety, how's that feeling in this moment? How does your nervous system feel now? Let me know. I'll give you all a moment to come back fully. I love that. Okay, lovelies. So in today's workbook, there is some questions to help you think about this in a bit more detail in relation to you. And for you to, what I would invite you to do is start thinking about how you can bring in more practices like this to take you from that fear mindset into a place of abundance, into a place of knowing that you have so many opportunities available to you to get help, to get support, but also to bring yourself out of that space of anxiety, that place of fear. Noticing the things that will draw you back in. So for me, media. I don't watch the news. I tend to be really cautious about the things I consume. These things sell because they tap in to that fear response. Fear is a selling tool. So be cautious of what you're consuming, not just physically what you're consuming, but mentally, emotionally. Let me see your comments as they come through. Jane, you're feeling lovely and relaxed now. I am so pleased. Jolita, you sent me a little love heart. Thank you, lovely. Beverly, feeling calmer. Janet, you're feeling relaxed. Katie, you're finding it so hard to love yourself and let go. It really calmed you. You are so welcome, lovely. Thank you, universe, for guiding and supporting me over the last 48 years and keeping you safe since you were 7 years old. I love that. Oh my God, that's just filled my heart up. Thank you, Amelia, for sharing. I felt fear in my heart, but at the end, it felt more light and spacious. And that's what we want, right? We want our heart to be open and ready to love the world. Do you know what I mean? That feeling of, oh, yeah, bring it on. Beverly, you're learning to love yourself too. So, lovelies. You also have another visualization for today. that you can do in your own time. As always, they're only 10 minutes. And like I say, you can come back to them anytime you need. They're yours for life. Keep them, enjoy them, make the most of them. And in your workbook, spend some time thinking about this. Spend some time about thinking about whether this shows up for you, this excess vata. And what are some of the more specific ways that you personally can do something about it? So it might be the being conscious of what you're consuming, how you can tap into gratitude more, where you need to feel the fear and do it anyway. Sometimes the things that we're scared of are the things that we really need to do to get to the other side. I think of the things that have terrified me the most, and they're the ones that have, brought me the most reward, whether that was, having my children. God, the anxiety as a parent, eh? Or whether that was starting my business, starting this terrified me when I first started. I was so scared of going, doing lives and being online and people being able to see me, and what if they think this about me, and what if they judge me, and all of those rubbish things go on through our heads. So start to think about this. What are the fears that are coming up for you, and where might they be holding you back from doing what actually you need to do? The other big one for me was, and this sounds ridiculous now, but when I was really not very well, I was terrified of getting support. I was terrified of someone, one, telling me I had to give up everything I loved, and that just wasn't going to happen. Thank God for Ayurveda. But also, I think I was terrified of being judged. I was terrified of being vulnerable. I was terrified of what if I couldn't do it? What if I couldn't live up to my expectations? What if I let myself down? And we do this in so many different ways, in so many different areas of our life. So I wanted to invite you today to have a look at this, get clear on this, and have a think about what you can do to feel the fear, do it anyway, from a place of gratitude, and really bring that vata back in balance. So I am sending you so much love. I am wishing you a gorgeous day ahead. I am so looking forward to seeing you tomorrow for day 4. Day 4 is a powerful one. Day 4 is possibly my favorite, although I don't want to have favorites. It feels like kids. I don't want to point out any of these days for my favorite. But day 4 is a powerful day. You're not going to want to miss it. You really will feel the energy shift. So I promise you, if you come along for that, especially if you can come live, then you will see huge benefits. So I am going to love you and leave you. Have a gorgeous day. Remember to take care of yourself. Do the visualization. Have a look at the workbook. And I will see you tomorrow in here, 11 a.m. for day 4. Take care. See you soon.